Charles Van Morgan Show. Thank you all for joining us. So today we're going to talk about the phenomenon of luck and how you can use it to your advantage. We're going to talk about intuition and things you can do to use intuition as a tool. And we're going to talk about the rigged government system. So come on in, join us. Charles Van Morgan Show. Got a lot to cover today, and we're going to talk about some news going on and some related to some news in the past. We haven't forgotten. We copy and paste and remember stuff. So the news is framed and rigged, and we're gonna compare news in the past to news that's going on now and see if it jives. See if we have a rigged system. So we're going to talk about some news and show you some articles that we got. Come on in, Charles Van Morgan Show. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. Unbridled news, stuff you won't hear anywhere else. So let's start off right off the bat by talking about a scripture verse, Matthew 24:24. And this isn't a religious show, but my worldview is based on scripture, so I'm not deceptive. I'll just tell you the truth about it. I believe in the holy word of God. So Matthew 24:24 talks about in the end times that there'll be false prophets and false teachers, and they'll show signs and wonders, and they'll deceive even the most very elect. Hello, Jerry Pearson. Hello. Thank y'all very much for coming on in. So let's talk about deception and the rigged government system. Come on in. Thank y'all for coming. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Join the show. And thank y'all for joining me. Let's turn this around here. So the Charles Van Morgan Show, unbridled news. So we're going to talk about deception in a rigged system. A rigged government system. The government's like a casino. They got stuff rigged in their favor, in their flavor. They pick everything they want, and you get nothing or the leftovers. You get a few scraps. They need to keep you alive to keep you supporting their big fancy houses, and they need you supporting their children, and they need you supporting them. And that's what government is for, from their view, is it is for you to take care of them and for them to be over you, govern you, and make laws and rules so that they can maintain their power and maintain their livelihood, and you're supposed to work hard and keep them going. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So and the deceit that's going on. So if you read Matthew 24:24 from the Holy Scriptures, and we base our thinking on other things, but the Holy Scriptures points to in the end times, and even if you don't think it's the end times, it's closer to the end times, if by any measure, because times are moving to the end. It was closer to the end times in 1960 than it was in 1930. It's closer to the end times in 1925 than it was in 1920 during the pandemic. So in 2025, excuse me. So Matthew 24:24 talks about in the end times, and it's closer to the end times by any measure. So go with me. If you're an unbeliever, you can still listen by sheer logic. Even scientifically, the sun's going to burn out eventually. So we're close to the end times. I mean, give me a break. People want to argue about everything. Even scientifically, if you're an atheist, there's an end. But in the Bible, the Holy Scriptures, which is my frame of reference, it talks about the end times. There'll be false prophets, false teachers, false people proclaiming themselves to be Jesus, God, and they will show great wonders and signs and deceive people. There's going to be a lot of deception going on. And it says even the very elect, even the most astute people, if you're not on guard, if you're not paying attention, to what's going on, you might go along with the program, go along with the deception. Now, in my view, my worldview, Lucifer, Satan, is the father of lies. That's what it proclaims in God's holy word. He lies. He lied to Eve in the Garden of Eden, deceived her into the fall of man. So deception is not a new thing. And Satan, Lucifer, and all the demons and evil, wicked followers of him, angels, are a heck of a lot smarter and know more than any human being. So we need to be very alert and awake to the phenomenon of deception. There's ways we can fight it. One of the biggest deceptions in world history and in the United States of America going on now is the deception of the Tennessee United States government, the deception that they perpetrate on the mass population. So I'm a populist speaker. I speak for the people, the mass populace of people. I don't speak for the government. I speak against people in government power. Now, I speak for the government in the fact that we are the government. The mass populace, the mass population under our form of government is the government. So we're the government. So I'm not anti-government. People in government power would like to describe me as someone who hates the government. That's not true. As an anarchist. That's not true. It's exactly the opposite. That's deception. I am for government. I'm for the people. The populists are the government in our form of government. We even have the right under our form of government, because we are the government, to reform government institutions. Because we're the government, we can reform, remake anything we want to. We can kick people in power out if we want to, because the people in power now are people that have infiltrated our government, and they're not the government. We're the government. So deception going on. And we're going to talk about that today. On our way to the Henley Street Bridge, a beautiful view if we get down there. So we got some notes and stuff we'll show you at the bridge. And we're going to talk about some stuff going on in the news, how it doesn't line up with current stuff now, how the government deceives you, and how the government is a rigged game like a casino. They got the odds and probability, and we're going to talk about luck and intuition, how they got the system, the odds rigged in their favor, where they win every single time. And what we can do about it, we can use logic and knowledge and not be deceived, and be aware and pay attention to what's going on and not be deceived by these people that are in government power right now. The main thing we need to do, that they hate me saying, because they can't do anything about it. They want me to say something violent or dangerous, but I'm not going to do that because I don't believe in violence. They do. Now, that's the problem, is people in government power right now believe in violence. They believe in deception. They're crooked as hell. They want to live off you. And they do a pretty good job of it. They're not having any trouble buying groceries. They're not having any trouble finding a place to live. They've got mansions. They've got places for their children. And they deceive you, breadcrumb you into believing that it's a government by the people, for the people. No, it's not. It's a rigged government for the elite, by the elite. And I'm not saying nothing new. That's a sociological principle. So let's talk about odds and probability. So in the long run, an event will happen as often as it's supposed to according to its probability. Now, that's the law of large term numbers. And what that means is that according to something's probability is the way something will work out. Now, evolutionists would teach you to believe that things got here by sheer random chance. That there's no organization and design, that things just boom, they got here, a big boom, blew everything as we know it into the organized existence that it's in. You know, you can look around, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork, and say that doesn't even make any logical sense. Don't let them deceive you. They're trying to teach that in our schools, that we just got here by chance. So if we want to blow somebody off the face of the earth by our organized design, because they are here by chance anyway, they don't deserve to live, then we can go right ahead and do that. Kids can go right ahead and do that. But let me tell you what, God has a life and purpose for every human being. Things are not by chance, and we don't have a right to take human life. So things aren't random. And there's such a thing as luck, and luck is putting the odds in your favor. Even the Bible talks about luck. Now, God's in ultimate control of everything, so God knows what's going to happen before it ends, before it comes to a conclusion. But you can put luck in your favor by putting yourself in a position for good things to happen to you. You can beat the odds sometimes, and one of the ways to have good luck is to have intuition, use that as a tool, and to go on facts and knowledge. So one of the things that I want to talk about is, if you want an event to take place, say you want to be successful in life, and you want a good income, a good future, a good career. Now, there are a lot of different ways to go about that. You can just sit back and depend on luck. Maybe by luck, you will get in a future and plan things to go good in your favor. You can go to college, get a degree. The odds are people that go to college statistically have a better income by far than people that don't go to college. Now, that's not always true. That's not always true. You can beat those odds, and there's other ways of achieving success. But that is a usually pretty clear-cut path to put the odds in your favor. There's no guarantees in life, but going to college and getting an education is a let's get across this road before we get hit by a car and put the odds against us, is a pretty good way to have better odds to having a successful life. Now, that's not always true. There's other ways to do it. Now, Charlie Kirk spoke against an education, which I don't agree with that. Now, he was successful in another way. He used his charm and charisma to get past an education and be successful, according to financially, by other means. And he ran down education because he dropped out of school, kind of self-serving, pretty much, isn't it? So, and there are other kinds of education. You know, you can learn stuff on your own. And sometimes people who are educated, who have a college degree, are less proficient in a subject than people who've learned it on their own because they're self-educated than getting a formal education. There's a phenomenon called talent. Sometimes people are talented in areas and they're self-educated. They've educated themselves. My mother was self-educated. She learned interior design on her own and had a talent for that, but she also, in order to boost her credibility, got a formal education in design and passed a CQRD test in interior design and was very good at it. She had a natural talent and ability to do design that she could have done without a formal education, but that boosted her opportunities for employment and also boosted her credibility, put the odds in her favor of getting a better job and looking better in the public. So let's make sure we don't get run over here. So like, share, comment. So if you like the show, so that's one way to put odds in your favor, is to get education. That's not a guarantee, but the odds are that in the long run, if you get an education, that increases your probability of being successful. Now, I have noticed people like Charlie Kirk ran down education, and people like Joel Olston run down education, which is fine. And if you don't have an education, I'm not speaking against you. I'm just saying it's very interesting that these great, high, successful people that have got successful by their charisma in other areas run down a formal education. But if you've got an education, and even if you have got an education by informal means, not by self-education, then you understand that an education is important to get. It's hard work, takes dedication. Just the fact of getting through college, getting through school, getting through the academic requirements, if you don't go through an online diploma mill, if you go to a major university, is a very complicated task, and you have to memorize stuff, and you have to take tests. So you know the material that is in your subject. So it's not a free thing, and an education does mean something. It's interesting to me that those people spoke against an education. I disagree with them. And it's interesting to me that they dropped out. They didn't even finish the course. So that's pretty self-serving that they would say something like that, which is pretty indicative of human nature. So I have an education. I've got more education than most people do, and I'm proud of that education, which I should be. I know the subjects. I've studied and tested them, but I am brave enough and smart enough to know that that's not the only means for people to understand and learn things and be proficient in their careers. You can learn on your own. There are great mechanics that never went a day to mechanic school that have learned how to fix cars, how to work on stuff on their own by trial and error. They never took formal tests. They learned stuff on their own. There are some educational opportunities, some professions that you're barred from unless you have a formal education from accredited, accepted university, like being a medical doctor. They won't let you learn the medical profession on your own. You got to go to schools. You got to be tested. You got to sit down where you can't cheat, and you got to know the stuff off the top of your head. You got to be able to talk about stuff in depth, and you got to know the details of a subject in order to be a medical doctor. So medical doctors in their field, now some of them may not have sense in other areas. They may be horrible financial people, but in the medical profession, they know and have studied and know about how the body works, and especially in their specialty, they can tell you to the nth degree all about it and explain it in detail, stuff that's over your head and my head that I wouldn't even understand. So an education is a valuable thing. And in the legal world, getting a doctor of jurisprudence, there are things I know that the average layperson cannot know. You can get your own education, your own legal education, by reading it in books, but getting a formal legal education And there are some people that have the discipline to do that, but probably not, because there's no incentive in getting a formal law degree and being licensed and practicing law. There's no incentive to study law to that detail. And if you study law yourself, you're just doing it so that you can defend yourself and know legal principles for your own self. So the fact of going to law school, having to sit and take tests and study material and know things in your mind, and not being able, just reading it from a book, just knowing it right off the top of your head in minute detail, memorizing things, memorizing definitions, and being able to put them in the context that they're in, and understanding it in a world context you won't get anywhere else, except for by studying things every day, 4 years, going to law school and passing a test, and then going to the bar exam and passing an in-depth test. And if you do that, you've reached a great accomplishment. A lot of people think lawyers are dumb or stupid, and they may be in a lot of commonsensical areas. But if you ask a lawyer that's graduated from a accredited law school, that's passed the bar exam, about a legal phenomenon, now they won't tell you stuff for free. They get paid for their education. But they can tell you in minute detail all the facts and all the case law, pretty much. Now, they may have to research it, but if it's in their specialty, they can tell you all about that. Because they know and they've studied beyond what a layperson would know, an advanced level of knowledge. So I disagree with Charlie Kirk, and education is great. Now, he was self-educated and has charisma in his movement that he had to spread the gospel, and also it was in politics. And the evangelist has a lot of charisma and knowledge in what he does, Joel Osteen, but they're wrong and pretty self-serving. But I am quite different than them. I understand that people have advanced knowledge in other career areas that you don't need an education. But I said all that to say this. What I'm saying is, to get knowledgeable, to get learning and understanding is beneficial, and it'll increase your odds of being successful in life and being able to understand things. And I have an education in the law, and I also have an education in sociology, an advanced level of education in sociology, a Master of Arts in Sociology with an emphasis in criminology. So I have an advanced understanding, and I can tell you in great detail about why things happen the way they do, even legally. I have more education and more knowledge about why things happen than lawyers do. They understand the facts in law, and they understand case law, and they understand going and arguing in court. But I understand the reasons and sociological principles behind why things really happen, because you can take the law and you can take all this knowledge and you can take all this the legal system, and you can throw it in the river, because the way the world works is by sociology, by people, not words on a paper or what the book says. And that's where I differentiate from people who just have a legal education. But people are pretty self-serving. But I'm not running you down if you don't have an education. Get knowledgeable in your profession, in your area of study, work hard at it, and learn more, and get good at it, and you put the odds of being successful in your profession in your favor. But you put the odds in your favor. So that is one way to put luck in your favor, is to know more. Know more. And the best book to know more is God's holy word. So that's one way to put luck in your favor, is to have more knowledge. A formal education can help. And people that run it down are dropouts. And I'm not saying if you're a dropout that you won't be successful. I'm saying You dropped out. Don't run people down that have a formal education and degree. Now, a lot of people can't afford one, but people that have an education, generally, for the most part, don't run it down. Now, some people are mad because they've got an education and it hasn't helped them get anywhere. Now, I've got an education, and apparently doesn't seem to haven't got me anywhere, but I have an education to understand why it hasn't got me anywhere. It's because the system's rigged. So I'm educated to know the system's rigged, and I know exactly what to do about it. You fight and pray. God, don't let, well, as my mother used to say, don't let might beat right. So people in government power rig the system. They rig the system. They get luck without putting themselves in a position to receive the luck. They get it by design, not by deserved. Because if you look around, a lot of the people in high positions in government power don't have any education. They don't have any at all. How do they get where they're at without knowing in minute detail the functions of their job, which is not a problem for them because they just deceive you out of it into telling you no matter what happens that it's a good thing. They rule by deception, not by public benefit. So if you've got a legal education, for instance, in emergency management, which I do, then you know how to protect the public, and you know how to have early warning systems. You know how to design the government to protect citizens. If you have an education in emergency management, if you have an education in criminology, then you know how to go after real crime. Real crime is by people who have deceived you and gotten in government power by deception and rigging the system. You can get all the street criminals that you want to. That's not nowhere near the amount of harm to the public that needs to be dealt with. What needs to be dealt with is the organized crime in the government. And that is the real problem from an educational perspective. So these people in government power have rigged a system where they get the benefits of an education without even an informal education, without even learning stuff without a formal degree, without even paying the price, without even being good for the public. And that's what this show is about, is because when people are that inept or that stupid that the only knowledge that they have is how to manipulate and how to be deceitful and how to rig the system, then it's pretty blatantly obvious how ridiculous and how dangerous they are to you and me in society. And they're at high positions of government power. And how do they get in these positions of government power? They have an expert degree. They have superior knowledge in deception and deceit. And let's expose that. That's what this channel is for. They have friends and relatives in high power, in positions of high power, that have gotten them in positions that they don't deserve. It's who's your daddy or who's your relative or who's on the Supreme Court that's your friend, that's your buddy, that can promote you to high positions of power. And not a formal or even informal education that me and you have gotten to do our profession. They have no professionalism, no knowledge, basically, substantially none, zeal, in how to do the jobs that they're elected for, or how to provide for public safety, or how to do the position that they're involved in. Their expertise is in deception, and no matter what happens, we know how to convince the public that it's a good thing for them. When it's not a good thing for us, it's not a good thing for the populace, it's a good thing for the people in public power. So their advanced knowledge and training education is they know somebody that's put them in that position. or they are expert at deception and lying. That's why a lot of people in government power have a legal education, because you can use a legal education to deceive and manipulate people unjustifiably, or you can use it for public good. I use my legal education for the public good, which is what I'm doing today. I'm showing you, I'm exposing their perception, their deception of the public. So we're going to talk about some instances when we get to the bridge, the beautiful Henley Street Bridge, which is my office, because they won't let me in their nasty courtrooms, their nasty, stinky, smelly courtrooms that are full of abusive, nasty, sick people that are full of masters in deception and con artists, and full of people that are related to people that have vaulted them to positions that they're in, full of special interests that are bought out our government for a few people's interest and are selling out the public. So I'll present my case to the public out here on, as far as it is, a free sidewalk. And we really don't even have a free sidewalk, because they have put me in jail several times for speaking out against rogue people in government power. So they manipulate the system. They manipulate luck. The government's like a casino. Everything is rigged in their favor, where they win every time, all the time. And they give out a few breadcrumbs to other people that have earned and deserved their money. So let's quit playing this government-rigged casino game, and let's close down their casino and open up a fair system for the public. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about ways to overcome their rigged system. Number one way is to vote these people out of office, but we're not going to get people to vote these people out of office until we exploit their deception of you, which is what we're going to do. When I get down to the bridge, we're going to show you some stuff that's going on right now in the local news about a supervisor with THP that literally, possibly, caused somebody to die by his ineptness. And this is not the same old song and dance. This is a new one. It's a new story about a trooper who got something for nothing, doesn't know how to do his job. Remember, no formal education, and not even education in informal education in learning how to do his damn job. And promoted because of who he knows, because who likes him, who he plays up to, because he kisses the ring and puts a stamp on the corruption in government power and overlooks it for their benefit. And that's another way people get promoted in government power, is by kissing the ring. And not everyone, but substantially, if you want to stay, you help people in government power perpetrate their lies, and you'll be promoted to high government position, high government power. So that's another way. This is what this trooper does, and he's another rogue trooper that I believe, and I'll lay out the facts and show you the evidence, that killed somebody. Somebody died, dead, because of his ineptness. And we'll tell you his name and present the evidence. A Tennessee State trooper at the supervisory level. How did he get to be supervisor? Has no formal education, has no informal education. He got it by perpetrating the deception of government power. He's good for them, but bad for you. We're gonna tell you his name, spell out what he did. I know the man personally. I've met him. He's a low-life liar that shouldn't be over any form of public safety. He's a public danger. And I'll tell you his name and how he endangers the public. Now, they'd like to sweep it under the rug. They took care of it. But there's a current event that's taken place There's a current event taking place that exploits that. Something new that's happened, and there's a difference in the treatment of people, and the same incident, but there's a difference in people, and there's a difference in discipline. Why is that? Not any difference in the offense. In fact, one is much worse than the other because he's at the supervisory level. And we'll talk about that when we get to the bridge. Lay out that evidence, exploit, put in the forefront of your attention government actors that have gotten lucky because the system's rigged, and people that can do the job are removed. So you get unlucky because of the rigged casino system. So that's how many people we got in here. We're almost to the bridge. Thank y'all for coming. If you like the show, then subscribe, like, and share. And we're going to show you some newspaper articles. And when we get to my office, the Henley Street Bridge, then we'll lay out the evidence for you to convict people in government power. And we're going to say some alarming things about people, and it's not defamation if it's true. That's the defense to defamation. It's truthful. Their defense to defamation is it's privilege. So they defame you and say, sit behind robes, sit behind judges' robes, sit behind legislatures on the floor of the legislature and defame the public, speak all manner of ill and all manner of lies because they've wrongfully gotten government power. So it's privileged defamation. It's still defamation. It's false communication disseminated to at least a third person, and it lowers the public in the standing of the community, causes people not to deal with them. But it's done by privilege because judicial rulings are privilege. So they get in government power and defame you. But as citizens, we get out here and we're subject to defamation. What we say is not privilege. We have to stand on truth, and trust me, that's not hard to stand on, and pointing out how crooked, how stupid these people are in government power. I don't have to stand on privilege to honestly tell the truth about these stupid judges and people in public power. I can just tell you the flat out truth about these people. And it's the truth. It's not defamation. They hide behind privilege. They can defame you, but they got government positions. So what we need to do is vote them out of their privileged position, and then let them say the same thing they're saying behind the government benches, behind law enforcement officer, supervisory rank. Let them say the same damn thing without their government positions, and it'd be defamation. They'd have to pay you money. But they hide behind the government. They hide behind privilege, behind their self-given legislative privilege. And you can go down here to the Knox County Courthouse and listen to some of this horrible garbage that our elected judges put on the public that's false, absolutely not true, but in their privileged position that we have asked them to uphold the Constitution and the law, completely defy that and say all manner of horrible, wicked, crooked, corrupt stuff about the public. It is horrific and horrible and disgusting, coming from the mouth of disgusting, despicable Knox County judges like McMillan. So this stuff's not defamation. It's the truth. And I've met these people personally. I know them. I know them. I've met them personally. I can tell you what kind of person they are. I don't have to assume or guess. I've seen it with my own 4 eyes because I wear glasses. and I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. And I've heard them speak. And they're full of trash. They're full of self-interest. They're full of ignorance. And we're going to talk about this trooper. And I'll tell you his name. The low-life, dangerous to you. He's part of the Department of Public Safety, and he's dangerous to you. And I'll show you an example of his dangerous to you. And he's a supervisor, a liar, a danger to you, and a supervisor with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. I'll tell you his name. It's not defamation, it's the truth. If he wants to come to court and argue that I'm lying, we can argue and bring evidence, and we'll argue all day long about how dangerous he is to you. Because this is the truth. If he wants to listen to the truth in front of a jury, then let him sue me for defamation. Because he can argue that it's not true, and we'll show evidence where it is true what he did. To endanger you at a supervisory level with the Highway Patrol. And also, the same thing is going on. This happened, I believe, about 2017, but it ain't going away. Somebody's still dead because of him, I believe. The same thing happened just this year with the city of Knoxville, and there's a different set of standards in pretty much the same incident, but he was more, I believe, negligent than what they were, but the discipline's just a little bit different. Why is that? It's because of an inept, rigged agency that values power and promotions and kissing the ring more than they do your lives. And we'll talk about it. His name is Sergeant Jeff Appleby. How you doing, Jeff Appleby? You're a danger to the public. You shouldn't be allowed out on the streets. You ought to get a job as a janitor, or you probably couldn't even do a job as a janitor because people get sick, you wouldn't clean up enough. So you shouldn't be in public service, because you're not a public service. You're a service to people in power, a service to their deception. And you're stupid. You don't even know how to do your damn job. So you got a free ride, so you praise the brass and power. So Sergeant Jeff Appleby, what a dope he is. What a danger to public safety. And I'll explain to you exactly what he did. Exactly what he did. So let him sue me for defamation. I believe I'd be telling the truth, Jeff, and I know him. He's a pathetic, total creep that stands behind the badge, and he's a little weakling sissy that shouldn't be in law enforcement. And I'm out here on the bridge, Jeff. Hey, you want to come and discuss it, you little weakling sissy? A poor excuse for a man, let alone a supervisor with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, literally, I believe, caused somebody to be dead by his ineptness. And I'll explain it to you, what he did. And I don't care if there's two people listening. God knows. And we'll talk to the people that will listen. So thank y'all very much. We're going to talk about, welcome. We're going to talk about THP Sergeant Jeff Appleby. Hey, Jeff Appleby, Sergeant, the great man in your own mind that you are. The low-life, pathetic danger to public safety. Yeah, I said that, and it's true. It's true, and you're not going to understand the level of deception and the level of danger you're in unless I put it out to you blatantly. So handle the truth. The truth will set you free. So Jeff Appleby is a THPP sergeant. What a dirtbag he is. What an incompetent man that causes great misery. Now, like I said, I know him. I've met him personally. He got on with the Highway Patrol in commercial enforcement. He didn't get on as a trooper. He got on in commercial enforcement. He didn't go to the formal training in the Tennessee Highway Patrol Academy, State Trooper Academy, through the academy on how to do traffic wrecks, on how to investigate traffic wrecks. I did. I paid my dues. He didn't pay his dues. And it shows up on the roads. It shows up on the roads at places like Floyd's Wrecker Service. And we'll go by there and we'll just show you where the bodies are. Where the bodies from Jeff Appleby, where his bodies end up when he don't work a wreck the way it's supposed to be. And we'll show you the location where the body wound up. And very astonishing. So we'll go by Floyd's Wrecker Service and show you what Jeff Appleby didn't do. So he worked the wreck up on Johnsonville Highway. Now, he didn't go to the academy. He didn't get formal education from the academy on how to investigate wrecks. And he's promoted to sergeant, doesn't know how to investigate wrecks. He's a supervisor level. Ought to have advanced knowledge of how to investigate wrecks, because he tells troopers that don't have supposedly as much knowledge as him how to work wrecks. So I'm calling him out. Jeff Appleby. He got promoted because of kissing the brass, because of worshiping the brass, because of covering up for the hierarchy. That's how he got promoted. If you don't like it, hey, that'd be your problem, not mine. That's the truth. So we'll go down here to where a body fell out, that he caused a body to come out of a car. Now we'll go down here and I'll show you the significance of this location. How stupid this man is. He's a sergeant with THP, how stupid he is. Now, if you think this is defamation, let him sue me. It's the truth. It's a matter of fact. Highway Patrol has documented it, but they let him get a pass on it. They didn't even retrain him and show him, according to public documents, how to do the job better, because they don't care, because he kisses the ring. They gave him a free ride. He did something wrong and he got a free ride. Don't even know how to do it better. But he's at a supervisor level, supposed to know how to tell other troopers under him, supposed to have advanced knowledge. It's like we had a trooper with a sergeant that I was under, originally before Lion Lowell Russell. Now, Lion Lowell Russell's got a education in deception. I mean, look at he's a politician. He didn't know how to do his job, and if you had a question as a supervisor under him, he wouldn't help you do your job. He'd try to write you up, even though you're asking him, trying to ask him how to do something. Because he's supposed to be a supervisor, supposed to know how to do things. But if you ask him how to do something, ask for some advice or some instruction or something, he'd try to get you in trouble and write you up. Try to discipline you, get you fired. Because he didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't give advice. So he'd just write you up because you didn't know what you were doing. And that's the reason why you ask a supervisor. And he didn't know what he's doing either, so he'd get you in trouble. But I had a better supervisor before him, and I remember we had a trooper that was working one of his first fatality wrecks. And he didn't know how to do the measurements. Now, on a fatality wreck, under the general orders, you're supposed to do measurements. You don't all the time have to come out the CERT, critical incident response thing. There's so many wrecks, fatal wrecks, and people that aren't in law enforcement or in the highway patrol don't understand the magnitude of all the mass casualties every day. I mean, you read it in the paper and just glance over it, somebody got killed here. But when you're a trooper on the road, you have to work these wrecks. You see this very often, not every day, but it's usually on a monthly basis, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily. You see a lot of mass casualties and fatalities. But this was the trooper's first fatality, and he had two. So it was just a fatality where two people were killed, and the CERT team was going to come out, but the sergeant ordered the trooper to take measurements until the CERT team could get there in case something happened of where the vehicle ended up at. So you got to take measurements. So he was taking measurements at the scene, but he didn't know how to do that. He had never done that before. So he was asking the sergeant how to take the measurements. And the sergeant did say, well, you ought to know that. I'm going to write you up. He had never done that before. So he starts explaining to him in detail, in minute detail. It was Sergeant Bobby Clevenger. Sergeant Bobby Clevenger. Now, he's retired now. So he didn't try to write the trooper up or discipline him for not never having to do it before. He starts explaining to him and showing him and getting this tape measure out and going through the procedure in minute detail like a supervisor should, with advanced knowledge and how to do the measurements, and even explained to him and showed him how to do that, helped him do it. And he got me, and we all helped that new trooper how to do the measurements on a fatality wreck. He didn't try to get him in trouble or write him up. He was explaining to him how to do it. The goal was to protect the public, to get the truth about the wreck out, to protect society, and that's what he did. But you have these troopers that don't know what they're doing. They have no clue what they're doing. And they get promoted to high positions of power, being idiots because they kiss the ring, they follow deception. Now, not all of them. Like Bobby Clevenger wasn't an idiot. He did a great job, the best he could under biased circumstances. with the Highway Patrol. He got promoted because he knew what he was doing. He studied and passed tests and was successful by going through the system the right way. But he wouldn't speak out against the Highway Patrol because he couldn't. So Jeff Appleby, here's what he did. He worked a wreck on Johnson Ferry Highway, and it was a single car wreck. And he got on the scene of the wreck, and he started doing the paperwork, and he didn't even look in the car, find out anything, what was wrong or anything. And the record driver, Floyd's Record Service, towed the car right here to this record service. They towed the vehicle, and they towed the car, pulled it up here, and Jeff Appleby just took some notes. And the record driver asked Jeff Appleby, where's the driver at? And Jeff Appleby said he came back where he took off where he came back from. Didn't even look in the car, open the door, or do any investigation as to what happened. Probably didn't even get out of his patrol car. I'm thinking. But so he had the car towed. So they towed it to this lot right here. This lot right here, Floyd's Record Service, here in Knoxville. So Floyd tows the car here, pulls up. Now, Jeff Appleby is supposed to do a inventory on the car. Now, he's lied about the inventory because if you do an inventory, you have to look in the car and see what's in there to protect people's property. So, and it's also to protect the record driver, because if the guy later says that there was $1 million in his car, you went through the car and wrote down everything that's in there. Now, I did that when I was a trooper, and it takes a little bit of time. You have to get up, get out of your car, exert a little energy. You have to look in the car and write stuff down. You have to do a little work, unlike Jeff Appleby, who never got promoted by doing any work that was at least at standard level. He got promoted because he covers up for the government, covers up for people in power. So at this lot right here that I just showed you is where his ineptness showed its ugly head in a dead body. So Jeff Appleby probably didn't even get out of his car, do an inventory. He did a false inventory. So actually he has signed his name and forged paperwork saying that he did an inventory when in fact he didn't do an inventory. So you did an inventory of the car, you write down what's in there. So if you find $1 million, or if you find a 8-track cassette player in the car, then you write it down on the inventory and sign your name. And there's a whole blank space where you just write it down with a pen, what you find in the car. 3 books titled Inept Trooper Didn't Look in the Car. These books are here, didn't write them down. You find 3 cassette players of Johnny Cash, from 1968, that are worth a lot of money. You write them down, document they're in the car. So when the record driver picks it up, he signs off on the inventory. If he don't agree, then he can look at the car and say, what you wrote here is not in, I'm not signing that. He just accepts responsibility and takes the trooper's word for it. He's not obligated to do an inventory. So I bet they do now. So he loads the car up, and Trooper Appleby falsifies a government report, says he did an inventory, didn't do an inventory, didn't even look in the car. So he's already lying on the report. So why is he get terminated immediately? You don't get terminated if you're inept and protect the brass. You get terminated if you're good for public safety and don't protect the hierarchy. That's why you get promoted. Now that's just the truth, and I'm telling you an example. Inept sergeant, higher level sergeant Jeff Appleby. How you doing, Jeff? I'm down here on the bridge. You feel giddy, boy? Yeah, and I'm not dangerous to him. I'm just saying I got every right to defend myself. He's not even somebody that can defend himself. I'm just saying he's a danger to himself. I'm just saying that's the truth. Jeff, be careful. Resign from your position. Don't be a trooper. You're not qualified for it. And just for your own safety, resign and go get you a job, maybe in a nursery, or something. I wouldn't even trust him around children. Something where there's not very much likelihood of you getting hurt. You low-life, pathetic, danger to yourself. And that's not my concern. That's his own fault. He's a danger to you and the public. So here's what he did at that record lot right there. It's where they uncovered his danger to public safety. So he did a inventory without probably even getting out of the car. Falsified a government document. Did he get fired over that? You don't get fired. I mean, that's a stupid question. You don't get fired for being inept. That's not even on the list of criteria. If you're inept and you're on their team, they'll figure out, well, how can we cover this up? How can we make this go away? Is how they look at it. If you're not inept and you do a great job for public safety, the THPP, and you are for public safety, they'll fire you. That's why they're wrecking all over the place. That's why their supervisors are wrecking all over the place. That's why their supervisors are leaving people in cars to die. So Jeff Appleby, at that record service right down there, and here's what he did. And we're going to show you some evidence. We're getting to it. Hang on. Thank y'all for joining. So here's what that supervisor did. This guy's a killer. Yeah, I'm a killer. And you know, you can say this is a car. Look at this. Let's do this. What these people do. This is a car. It's a car. It's got 4 wheels, and this is a car. That's what you say. But wait a minute. I said that, but saying it, does that make it true? So they're saying I'm a killer. So I guess I'm a killer because somebody said that. This is a car. It's 4 wheels. Got an engine. This is a sports car. Yeah, right. I mean, saying something doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless. You know, it could be a lie. Evidence. Provide some evidence instead of just spouting off your stupid mouth. I'm providing evidence. That's what I'm doing. I'm saying Jeff Appleby. Here's what I'm saying very clearly, without any hesitation, to the whole world. Over $1.2 million, Jeff Appleby. How you like it, boy? Yeah, I'm not afraid of you. It's called the truth. It's called protecting the public from your ineptness, Jeff. Somebody text him, tell him I'm out here to $1.2 million. He's a big, tough sergeant. What's he going to do about it? You know what he ought to do is resign from his position in order to protect the public. That's what he ought to do. That's what Jeff Appleby ought to do. But he won't do that because you're giving him a lot of money to be stupid and cause you death. I'm going to tell you what he did, Jeff Appleby. Sergeant Jeff Appleby. I'm out here. I'm not afraid of you, Jeff. What are you going to do, Jeff? Big old tough guy. Yeah. Wow, right. So they say I'm a coward. I mean, I'm out here public speech. Jeff, you stand right beside me and call me a liar. I won't punch you in the face. I won't do that. If you try to punch me in the face, I know I can stop you. Trust me, I'm a hell of a lot more combat ready than you ever dreamed of. So I'm advise you not to do that, big boy. I'm just saying, you inept dumbass. So here's what Jeff did. So he worked the wreck without him getting out of his car. And without even looking. And a man had wrecked, and he was in the floorboard of the car, needing an ambulance, needing help, needing emergency equipment. An emergency officer, THP Trooper, was there, but did he call an ambulance? No, he didn't even get out and look for the man. He said he was not there. He didn't even investigate. He didn't do anything. He sat in his car, wrote out some papers, probably handed them out the window to the record guy without him getting out of his damn car. Handed him an inventory that you're supposed to do when you get that he didn't do an inventory, so he lied on a government document. He committed fraud, which is a civil offense. Sign your name to a false document. He didn't do an inventory, and at least not a substantial one. And let the man that had the wreck and needed medical care laying in the front seat of the car. So a man was needing medical care, and according to the coroner's report, was still alive. According to the documents, his time of death was later. So according to official documents, Jeff Appleby, a sergeant, supposed to know more than every other troopers, supposed to know more than me. Yeah, right, dumbass. He is. He left a man dying in his car and called a wrecker and let the wrecker service think that no one was in the car, tow the car. They towed the car down there to Floyd's wrecker service. They opened the door of the car, and a body, possibly still alive at that time, fell out of the car. Fell out of the car that Jeff Appleby worked the wreck up on Johnsonville Highway. So he did not render aid to a Tennessee citizen that had a wreck and was in need of medical care. He didn't even get out of his car and check that anybody needed help or any kind of anything. Worked the wreck, falsified documents. Had he called an ambulance, had he got out of his car and did his job and looked, he would have seen the man laying in the floorboard, alive according to the coroner's report, and needing an ambulance. Got on his radio, had he done his job, got on his radio. Now he's a sergeant at advanced level, got on his radio. I need an ambulance, Johnsonville Highway. Had a man in the floorboards, couldn't check his pulse, he still got a pulse, sent an ambulance. According to the coroner's report, he was still alive. That's official documents. He didn't die until later. Instead of calling an ambulance, he didn't get out of his car. He let that man lay there and die in his car. A citizen. Now that's our emergency response. That's our emergency response under, at that time, I believe, Lieutenant Heatherly, that was over the Knoxville district at that time. That's our emergency response. So if you have a wreck, and they still haven't corrected it, they haven't retrained them or told them, or any advanced level training or anything as compared to what's going on now. And the reason I bring that up is because of a specific incident. Now, they haven't retrained them or told them do any better or anything. And so if you have a wreck in Knox County, or in the state of Tennessee for that matter, in this whole district, because there's a major with the Highway Patrol that was over that at the time, I believe, a Lieutenant, Stacy Heatherly, that nothing substantial was done, retraining or anything. Even retraining for her to teach people to do better. No significant knowledge, only a cover-up, a massive cover-up. He should have been terminated, in my opinion. He let somebody die, probably according to the facts. The man was still alive. Had he called an ambulance, he'd still be alive. He let him die in the car, and the wrecker driver towed him to the lot, and the wrecker driver finds a body when it falls out of his car, when it falls out of the car at the wrecker service down here. So what period of time was that man alive and laid there in his car and died because of inept Trooper Jeff Appleby? And I know Jeff, I met him personally. He's a total babbling, lying idiot. He lies. He told me one time when I was trying to correct stuff that was dangerous from the Highway Patrol, when I was trying to make things better for the public, obviously he didn't make things better for the public, went on for a citizen to be dead. That citizen's not coming back. He's gone forever. He made a fatal, permanent mistake. That mistake's permanent, doesn't come back. And he did that. He did that, even admitted by the Highway Patrol he did wrong. And even admitted by him, he's apologized for it. Well, that's real good, I'm sorry, but you're still dead and the family's still without their loved one. Now, the Highway Patrol rigs it in demonizing the victim. Oh, of course they demonize the victim. Yeah, you know who the perpetrator is. Let's demonize Dirty Jeff Appleby. I was talking to other people about stuff that's dangerous in the Highway Patrol in an effort to improve circumstances for troopers, and he was eavesdropping, Jeff Appleby. And he told me one time, he said, if you don't like the Highway Patrol, just quit. Yeah, instead of making it better. Because obviously Jeff Appleby went on not to make it better. He went on, somebody is dead now, not coming back. It's not just a little mistake. It's a fatal mistake. They can't come back. That's not a mistake that you can come back from, Jeff Appleby. Your negligence, your ineptness, your laziness, your fraud in signing a inventory form caused somebody to be dead, gone off the planet forever. But let's just forgive you, Jeff. Let's just forgive the Highway Patrol for their atrocities against humanity. Just forget about it. It's okay. It won't happen again. They haven't even done anything to correct the error. They haven't done anything to correct the error. We'll look at something recent that's happened in the city of Knoxville where there's some severe discipline and retraining. They're teaching them how to do stuff better. Did that happen with THPP? No, they don't have to. They're gods. They're above you. They just explain it away, justify their illegitimate power, their lack of knowledge, and keep going on with the program. They haven't lost any power. They've deceived you and tricked you into believing their dirty lies. So we're going to have to get out of the rain here. It's going to start coming down, and we will, and we will go right down here under the bridge and look at the river and continue the show if we can find us a podium. So yeah, we got a little homeless camp here, so we better not disturb these people. Or yeah, so well, we better go somewhere else. But we'll show you the recent case where the city of Knoxville had an incident similar to this, only this was not as bad because this didn't involve fraud. This involved negligence and a misinterpretation of the facts. So let's see how many people we got in here. Yeah, we got quite a few. And got to find us a place to get under a canvas so we won't get soaked. It's supposed to rain this morning. I knew that. And we'll show you what happened in the city of Knoxville and the difference in what happened to Jeff Appleby. Basically nothing, nada. And what happened in the city of Knoxville, and compare that. That's what brings the Jeff Appleby incident better. When I heard this incident, I thought, well, that's certainly not what they did in the Jeff Appleby catastrophe, where you can forgive him, but you can't bring the life back. And in this case, no one died. There's not even the fatal consequences. In the recent case here in Knoxville, there's not even the fatal consequences. No one even died. In Jeff Appleby's case, it caused someone to get killed. The man that fell out of the car died. His time of death was later than, it was past the time, according to court documents, it was past the time that he when he found him. He was alive, according to court documents, at the time Jeff Appleby found him, or should have found him. He was still alive. He should have been, so we'll see if we can get across. He should have found him, he would still be alive. So what Jeff Appleby did was fatal. You can't come back from that. The guy can't come back. He's gone. He's gone forever. Gone. There's no coming back. So while you may forgive him, the result of what he did was fatal. So the punishment should fit the crime. What's happened here in Knoxville, the person that they made a mistake on is still alive. It wasn't a fatal consequence. So the punishment should fit the crime, and I believe it's not a crime. It was negligence. What Trooper Appleby did was a criminal act of falsifying a inventory report, and that's what Jeff did. And he got suspended for 2 days. No retraining. That's evident that they said. No demotion. No anything. And he didn't have training that he should have had in the first damn place. In my opinion, he just got on with commercial enforcement, and they lifted him up to the level of trooper because he lies for the establishment, and he lies for them. So it doesn't look like it's going to rain right now. We'll stand here as far as we can. We'll show you some documents about Jeff Appleby. So thank y'all for joining me. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if you can contribute. And I want to thank the road bots in here. Y'all are great help. But no, y'all get off my channel. You're horrible. You're hurting me outright. So some people are just stupid. So let's talk about Jeff Appleby. Sergeant, thug, Jeff Appleby. Criminal, should be Jeff Appleby, that forged an inventory, that worked the wreck, didn't even get out of his car probably, left a live body in the car according to court documents, didn't call an ambulance, let a wrecker come and tow the car with a body in it, still alive according to the time of death, didn't call an ambulance, let the guy die in a car. Floyd's Record Service towed it over here to Floyd's Record Service where I just showed you, and the body falls out of the car, probably dead at that time after Jeff Appleby didn't do his job. And that's a sergeant. Hello. That's a supervisor with Tennessee Highway Patrol. How inept is that? Deadly inept. I mean, it caused somebody to die. So if you're in a wreck with one of your family members, you can depend on still, because they haven't been retrained to do it better. You have a wreck, you're in a car dying, you need medical care, a trooper will sit in his car, call a wrecker, and they'll tow you to an impound lot where you could be dying on the way. That's what might happen by the Tennessee Highway Patrol. And the driver of the Tennessee Highway Patrol car may be drunk. They're drunk on the job because they're even getting drunk. They're drunk on the job, and judges are putting them back to work. It'd be funny, but that's not funny because that man's dead. I'm telling you what our government is doing. Department of Public Safety is Department of Public Danger. That's a fact. Now, I'm not just saying that a little electric scooter is a car. I'm showing you facts. You can say anything you want to. Can you prove it? I'm proving it. I'm proving it. Now, they cover it up in the newspaper. They just glance over it. I'm going a little more in detail. I know as a trooper what you're supposed to do when you have a wreck. You're supposed to do a valid inventory. Get out of your car and look. There's somebody here needing help. Dispatch, send an ambulance. There's somebody still in the car and they need an ambulance. So they would have got there, and if I'd have worked that wreck, he'd still be alive probably. But not under Jeff Appleby, a highfalutin supervisor that kisses the ring. So that's the truth. So let's show you what the facts about this. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a rat. It's THP. That's the truth. So let's show you. Supervised by Major Stacy Heatherly, who got promoted for lying, for endangering herself. So here we go. Here is Jeff Appleby and his little catastrophe. And he wasn't even new. He's been on the Highway Patrol for 14 years. So here it is, what he did. Jeff Appleby, 14-year veteran of the agency, didn't open any of the minivan's doors and only shined a flashlight in the vehicle, according to the 134-page report on his actions obtained through a public records request. He was suspended for 2 days. So he was suspended for 2 days. Says nothing about, and we're going to get out of the rain, says nothing about any retraining. You know, Jeff, this is what you're supposed to do in a wreck. Right, get out of it. This is what you're supposed to do. This is live, boots on the ground. So we fight weather and a lot of adversity to get out in the public and present the news unlike any other. So let's get out of the rain here, and so yeah, let's get out of the rain just for a second here and see if we can find us a place to report the news out of the rain. So let's see how many people got in here. Got a bunch. So we're talking about stupid Jeff Appleby and how he allowed somebody to die in a car and an event that happened here in Knoxville where a person was found unresponsive, and the city emergency officials called the coroner and thought that the person was dead instead of called the county coroner, and the person was found by the coroner, and they gave him Narcan, and the person was still alive. So the emergency responders here in Knoxville found him dead, they thought, and called the county coroner to pick up the body. The county coroner came, found the pulse, and gave him Narcan, and found the person was alive, and kept the person alive, and they're still alive. So that incident happened just a few days ago. But the difference in THPP and the Knoxville city government is that, and I hope you can hear me, it's raining, I'm gonna try to find some cover. The difference is that the city of Knoxville retrained these people. They were suspended for 8 days, the city of Knoxville. So you can see it's raining. See if we got a few people in here. We got about 90-something people. Yeah, so thank y'all for joining me. So the city of Knoxville, here's the difference in Jeff Appleby, Tennessee Highway Patrol. I'm calling out by names, showing you black and white. He's still a sergeant, probably a lieutenant by now, I don't know. But I know he's a supervisor, supposed to have advanced level knowledge. I got advanced level knowledge in stupidity. The higher they go, the more inept they are a lot of times, and the more they are for people in power, the more they are for government officials, the more they protect the brass, the more they protect the organization. And they even put that in evaluations that you're good for the agency, that you promote the agency, and not, it shouldn't be an agency that promotes itself, self-perpetrating. It ought to be an agency that protects the public. The better you do at your job, they even put in the evaluations that you benefit the agency, that you're good for the agency, that you are proud of the department. So there's a trooper right there. Let's get him on video camera. Let's wave at him right here. Let's wave at him. See that? Right here. Let's wave at him. How you doing, trooper? Yeah, let's wave at him. I'm talking about Jeff Appleby. You want to hear about Jeff Appleby? How's your Sergeant Jeff Appleby doing? The one that let somebody die? How's Jeff Appleby doing? The one that let a trooper die? Let somebody die? How's he doing, trooper? Yeah. 1170. Yeah. God, what a joke they are. I asked him about Jeff Appleby. He don't like that, does he? Yeah. So there we go. That's the Tennessee Highway Piss Patrol. So at least he rolled down his window. Not all of them are bad. I feel bad for the he didn't let a trooper die. He let a citizen die. So yeah. So yeah. What a bunch of dirtbags they are. So, but I feel bad for the troopers on the road. They have to put up with that, not necessarily him. But I've got a right to question them at every turn, and I do. The unruly get concessions. Go along with the program. Freedom of speech on a public sidewalk. So, yeah. So, ask troopers about Sergeant Jeff Appleby. If he works your wreck, we'll let you die in a car and have your car towed. And if he's ever been retrained. So yeah, I'm just saying that's what they do. They don't even retrain people that make colossal errors that kill people. So the city of Knoxville had a similar incident where they had a trooper, they had a citizen that they got a call to that they thought was apparently deceased. So they left the scene apparently and called the county coroner. That's the person that collects bodies and reported as a death. The county coroner got there and determined that the person had a pulse, and they said they're not trained for that. They checked the pulse, and the county coroner, this is a person not supposed to do medical stuff. Their job is to collect a body, and if there's foul play, to do an investigation. So they were called to the scene, and they found a pulse, administered Narcan. Evidently the person was under the influence of drugs. Narcan is a drug that they give to people that have overdosed, and the person revived and is still alive. So the Knox County emergency personnel made a huge mistake. They said somebody was dead, called the county coroner, when they weren't. That happened just recently. And the penalty for that was that they were suspended for 8 days. Jeff Appleby 2 days. And he apologized. And the person that Jeff Appleby left in the car to die, that he had towed, the body and the car was towed. He didn't even look like he should have. They said he shined a flashlight. I doubt if he did that. I don't believe their reports. I know for a fact, according to records, documented records, the person's time of death was after Appleby had the car towed. So according to official records, the person was still alive when he was in the back of the wrecker, when he was in the car on the back of the wrecker. So he died probably on the way to the Ford's record service, where the record driver opened the car door and found the body. So there you go. And the city of Knoxville, and I'll show you the documents, the city of Knoxville found a person unresponsive that they thought was dead. Now, they didn't overlook the body. They thought they were dead. They may have not had a pulse at the time, I don't know. And they called the coroner, didn't administer Narcan, didn't do their job, and the coroner found out the person was alive. So the difference is they were suspended for 8 days. So this happened just for 8 days. Several people, I think 3 people, were suspended. And the person's still alive. And the city of Knoxville put those people through retrain them. They didn't fire them. And the person's not dead. And they made a mistake. And they were negligent. They should have done more than what they did. And the city of Knoxville, appropriately, probably because these ain't high conflict people, are retraining them, admitting that they made a mistake, and admitting that their training is subpar, and they're retraining them, re-educating them, or maybe their training didn't take on, retraining them and re-educating them into how to do better, not let people lay there when they're alive and call for somebody to pick up a body when you're not even dead. A mistake, negligence, retraining them 8 days suspension. Trooper Appleby was given 2 days suspension. The person that he left in a car died, dead, not coming back, not like the one here in Knoxville where the person's still alive. Died, is dead, deceased, not coming back. Sorry doesn't help. They said Appleby was very apologetic. Well, that's real good. The person's still dead. So that doesn't matter. You can be sorry, and the punishment needs to fit the crime, and he committed a crime. Those people with the city of Knoxville didn't commit any crime. There's no forged documents. There's nothing forged. They committed negligence. They didn't administer Narcan. They didn't do enough what they should have done. Trooper Sergeant, advanced level, higher level, supposedly knowledge. I mean, why is he a sergeant if he don't have high level knowledge? He supervises other troopers how to leave a body in a car, to die on the way to the record service. That's the Tennessee Highway Patrol. And it's not defamation. This is the truth. These are facts. I mean, you can look at a scooter and say that's a car, or you can look at a car, and I'll show you the car and say this is a car. It's got 4 wheels. Those are cars, got 4 wheels and an engine. So Trooper Appleby got suspended 2 days. He's sorry, person's dead, not coming back. Those people with emergency, people with Tennessee have gotten 8 days off, retrained. The person didn't die. So here's a beautiful view of the river. Thank y'all very much for joining. We're not done yet. I'm going to show you some more stuff. We've been on here about an hour and a half. So here's the backed up Henley Street Bridge. So there's the crooked courthouse. So no retraining of Jeff Appleby. No retraining, and he is still a supervisor, so he hasn't been taught how to not do what he did. He hasn't been taught how to work wrecks so that he can tell other people how to work wrecks. He hasn't been retrained, re-instructed, given more knowledge on what went wrong and not to forge documents, to be honest and forthright. None of that training, none of that, and he's still a sergeant, probably higher with the Highway Patrol, as far as I know. Not because he knows what he's doing about public safety, because obviously he does not. A fatal incident, fatal, that he caused, directly his conduct caused that. Now they got rid of me and my conduct didn't cause anything. All my conduct was lawful, didn't forge any documents, didn't do anything illegal, was well within my legal rights of the Department of Safety, legal rights within state law, trying to apprehend a violator, didn't do anything negligent or against the law, but I did kiss the ring. He did something negligent. His actions were criminal. And the prosecutor over here, Sharman Tissue Allen, didn't even charge the dirtbag for a crime. So how does that jive? How does that jive? It's a people in power that do things crookedly, that keep themselves in power, regardless of their ability to protect you all. So we're going to try to see if we can't get in a place where we won't get rained on. And I'm not going to melt. It's not lightning, so it's not dangerous to be out in the rain. It won't kill me. Hopefully it won't kill my phone. But thank y'all for joining me. Charles Land Mortgage Show. And we're going to talk about and show you the written reports of that when we get in a dry place. We're dealing with the weather. So there's some birds going down through there. See the birds there. Flying under the bridge. Wow. So yeah. So thank y'all for joining me. Like, share, comment. It's the Charles Van Morgan Show. Evidently the weather is running people off, but we're still here and got a few more minutes to go. When we get in a dry place, I'll show you the documents, or we may show them to you tomorrow. So we talked about today about people in government power, how inept they are, and the difference between what happened in 2017, where a trooper let somebody die, and what happened in 2025, where another department, somebody died, or they pronounced them dead, they didn't die, and they got retraining, and they got suspended for 8 days, and how the Highway Patrol protects its brass at your demise. So tomorrow we're going to talk about luck and how you can increase your chances of luck, and we'll talk about intuition, about how you can use intuition, gut feelings to help you make decisions. And we'll show you the black and white pictures of the State Highway Patrol and what happened in the Sergeant Jeff Appleby death incident where he caused somebody to die because of his ineptness, according to their documents, and how the news covers it up. So many people we got on here. And so yeah, it's raining out here. Rain won't kill me. The views are going down. That's all right. We thank y'all for joining me, and we'll finish the conversation tomorrow. I'm gonna get the heck to the house so I don't get completely soaking wet and my phone don't get destroyed. So hopefully it won't be raining tomorrow, and we'll finish the discussion the best we can. So thank y'all for joining me, and I got a lot to show y'all. Didn't get to show my documents. I'll dry them out, show them to you tomorrow. So hope y'all enjoyed the show. Thank y'all very much. God loves you, and I do too.